Once again, congratulations on scoring 700. How does it feel?
Thank you. It definitely relieved. Didn't want to have to take that one again.
I can understand. That's it. So, Adam, tell me a bit about yourself. Which part of the world are you from?
Buffalo, New York.
Aha, all right. And how's the weather out there? It must be starting to get colder. Is it still nice?
This weekend actually it's almost supposed to be 90 for whatever reason, and then it's gonna finally start dropping down to cooler temperatures.
Okay, that's good. This weekend it's supposed to be 90 in Phoenix as well. So I think we're kind of going through a transition too.
Yeah, definitely gonna be a hot one.
That's it's cool for us. I think it's hot for you.
Yeah.
I'm really happy. I mean, when it's 90 over here, we can drive with the tops off on convertibles. So I think that's how good it is over here. So
That's funny.
So Adam, I was looking at our history of email conversation with you. There isn't a whole lot. There was just one email in which you said, hey, you've scored, was it 490, then 530, and now you've scored 700. There was another where you were in the middle of your preparation and you said, I'm facing issues applying the processes and all. Those were pretty much the two emails. So basically what we do in these debriefs is, this is essentially a debrief, and what we go through is we kind of figure out who you are, what is it that you do presently, and then why you're planning to do an MBA right now. And then we go on from there on to how you started preparing for the GMAT, how did you find time take time out to prepare for the GMAT, talk a bit about the personal sacrifices, some of the adjustments that you made during this process, who all did you have to bring along. And how did you go from the 490 to 700 right now? What are some of the key things that helped you with the sole aim of helping other people achieve the kind of improvement that you've been able to achieve?
Right.
So let's just start with the background. Tell us about who you are. What is it that you do?
Sure. I actually have had a few positions. I've worked mostly in the banking, Citibank.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I was working for AMS Servicing, which is a smaller company, but they are a vendor for Bank of America.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, I actually am doing some work with a startup marketing firm.
Okay.
So that's probably will be my last position before I enter, because I'm applying for MBAs now.
You're applying for the fall semester for
full time.
Full time.
Full time for fall 2016.
Fall 2016, right? So you'd be working on your applications right now.
Correct. Yeah.
So why MBA now? You seem to be you seem to have worked for big firms. You're now working in a marketing position for a startup, and so why MBA now? It seems like you're doing lots of exciting things.
For me, it's actually going to be a career change, because I want to get into healthcare administration, and it's very difficult for me, at least in this area, to get in without an MBA. Pretty much everyone requires it.
When you say healthcare administration, is it like, and forgive me for my ignorance in this field, this is one area where I have very limited knowledge. So is it like hospital administration, or is it on the insurance side?
It can be either. I mean, for me, it's probably going to be more a hospital end or care facility,
mm-hmm.
unless I find something piques my interest in during school, and I change my positioning. But yeah, as of right now, it's more of in the facility administration role.
Okay. And do you have some sort of a medical background? I mean, is that something that is also a prerequisite for these positions?
No. I mean, a lot of people think that you have to be a doctor and have an MBA, but it's not the case. They need, in the industry right now, they need a lot of business-minded people, just because of the changes and stuff and expansion.
Okay. And from a background, what's your undergrad in?
It's just business administration.
Oh, so your undergrad is also in you're a Bachelor of Business Administration.
Yes.
You're a BBA. Okay. All right. So and which colleges are you targeting?
Right now, my applications are for Emory and Foster.
Okay. All right. That's good. So when did you start preparing for your MBA? Let's talk about that.
For the MBA or the GMAT.
I'm sorry for the GMAT. I haven't had my
Yeah.
morning coffee yet.
No, that's all right. I started, let's see, I believe it was about a year ago, so fall 2014.
2014 fall, okay. And so tell me, how did you go about doing it?
It was started off as pretty unorganized.
Mhm,
I borrowed some old GMAT review books from my roommate who had already taken the GMAT.
mhm.
I mean, they were so outdated, it didn't even have integrated reasoning in it. I didn't even know.
Say that again, say that again. This is the
they,
first time I've heard this.
they actually didn't have integrated reasoning in the
Oh,
books yet.
integrated reasoning. I thought you said critical reasoning. I'm like,
Oh,
how
no.
old is your roommate?
Yeah. No, he's the same age as me, but he went right from undergrad to grad school. He did the 5 year.
The integrated programs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he took it a little younger than I did, but
Mhm.
so I thought I could just use his review books, and it
Mhm.
just went horribly. I mean, as you can see, the 490 was my first score.
Mhm.
Just wasn't prepared.
Okay. So 490 with what kind of a split?
I don't have it in front of me, but it was like, I know verbal was around a 25, 26,
Okay.
and the quant would be low 30s possibly, or mid 30s.
For a 490, let me just do the math over here. 600 is 700 is 84. 600 is round about 674. So it should be about 70. So if you said verbal was 25, right?
I believe so, yeah.
So your quant should be around 42, 43 or so, I would say. Was it not, or was it even lower?
I think it was, I
Oh,
think
oh,
it
you
was,
said 490. I'm sorry. Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes, it has to be lower. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So you got a 490. You studied through these using these outdated books, and you got a 490.
yeah.
And then what did you do?
I then came to GMATClub
Mm-hmm.
and started researching. I found the MGMAT book series,
Mm-hmm.
so I thought it'd be a good idea to get an updated book series,
Mm-hmm.
and that combined with the Magoosh online prep
Mm-hmm.
was what my second attempt was basically.
Okay. So now,
And
prior to
yeah,
this, had you taken any online course?
no,
No.
no,
So this is your first online course.
yes,
And just as a background, you've grown up in the States, right?
correct, yes.
Okay. So even during your school years, you hadn't taken online courses, or
No,
no?
everything was just, yeah,
The teacher would come and teach
classroom.
you on the board itself, and okay.
Yeah, the normal classroom.
The normal classroom courses, all right. Okay, so you started preparing for the second attempt. When did you start preparing for the second time? What do you remember approximately which month?
It was closer to Christmas because I know I took it in February was
Okay,
the second attempt.
okay. So you had the
So
entire 10 book series and the Magoosh course on.
yes,
So,
yep. So the Magoosh course I used a lot for just the question banks, to be honest. And then the books I just read through one by one and
mhm.
tried it that way basically.
Okay, but you were able to go through all the 10 books in those 2 months,
Yeah, it was about 2.5 months.
2.5 months. Okay, how did you find time out to read through so many books?
Um, Work was pretty slow. I had some time at work. For whatever reason, my supervisors were fine with it, so that
Okay,
helped.
and you don't have a girlfriend, or?
Not at that time. Now
Not
I
at that
do.
time. Not now you do. Okay. All right. So that helped again.
Yeah, yeah, and it's winter in Buffalo. You're really not going anywhere. So
That's true. Yeah, you can go skiing, right?
I do ski. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
but yeah, it was a lot though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It was a lot of reading, of course.
mhm. So you took the GMAT the second time. You scored a 530, right?
Yes,
Now, how much were you scoring in the mocks?
that was a 39-26 split.
No, no, no. But prior to taking
Oh,
the test, you must have taken mock tests as well,
oh,
right?
right, the MGMAT mock test. Yeah, I was in the upper 600s on those on
Uh,
there.
so like 650, 660, somewhere around there.
Yeah, yep, 670 even, I think.
Oh, even 670. So I mean, when going into the test, did you feel confident that you were gonna replicate that kind of a performance?
Yeah, I did, to be honest. And it was that was, I'd say, the hardest moment was after that test, was seeing my score.
Why was that? I mean, you you studied for 2.5 months. You basically were confident going into the test. How was the testing, the 3.5 hours? I mean, did the question seem different from what you had practiced, or I mean, did you get a sense during the test itself that it's not going the same way as the mocks have gone?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I felt like the questions were a lot harder. So I started thinking, well, okay, maybe I'm doing well and scoring high. That's why the questions seem harder. And then during the verbal section is really when it came to my attention. I just felt, I mean, I was guessing every 5 questions. Like it went pretty poorly.
Okay, and what were you scoring on the Manhattan mocks prior to this? So when you were doing 670, do you remember what was your verbal score versus what your quant score was?
The verbals were sort of like lower 30s, 32, 33.
Okay.
So they weren't too high, but it was enough for me with my quant score. I felt like with like 45, 46 quants.
Okay, and just to relate this, you got a 530. Just to put things in context, and again, forgive me if what I'm saying is not correct. I didn't do my undergrad in US, but you must have taken the SAT as well, right?
Yes.
So what was your SAT score?
It wasn't that impressive. It was
Wasn't that
about
impressive.
it was around 1,000 out of 1,600.
Okay. All right. So 1,000 out of 1,600, and now you've scored a 700. So this is kind of a big jump. You're right at 90 percentile, whereas 1,000 out of 600 is what, 55 percentile in SAT or something? 55, 60 percentile?
It's pretty.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just had to take a guess. I didn't know. I don't know
I
anything about.
honestly, it's been so long I couldn't tell you, but yeah, that sounds
Okay.
about it.
Okay. So this was February, mid-February, March timeframe. So then why did you, I mean, so you've 490, 530. I understand you must be quite shattered, haven't taken the GMAT twice, haven't put in so much effort. So what kind of made you say, okay, I can do better this time, or I can do better next time? And how did you pull yourself together? If you had to at all? Maybe you are one of those people who actually just says, okay, I've got to do it. How many ever attempts does it take?
No, I was basically, I pulled myself together and said, I can do this one more time, but it's got to be all in.
Mm-hmm.
And I really need to figure out my study process, because it's just not working. Something I'm doing is wrong.
Okay.
So I went back on GMATClub, and I knew of e-GMAT. I had taken one of the free webinars or web sessions.
Okay.
And I just felt that it wasn't for me because I'm a native, basically.
You're a native, yes.
Yeah. But the more I looked into it and the more I attended those sessions, I really was interested, and I felt like this is what could really help me in the verbal department, especially.
When you say the more you looked into it, so you attended just one webinar, did you do anything else that kind of convinced you?
It was the critical reasoning session. It was about the
pre-thinking.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, I have that session tomorrow. I still have to study for it, so it's good to know.
I still remember one of the questions about the burning garbage.
Oh yeah. Oh, yes. Shall be well reviewed.
Yeah. Yes. That's it. So definitely stood out for me, and that was a big turning point, because I definitely made the decision to sign up after that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I didn't do the quant, but the verbal I prep was really a game changer for my verbal score, of course.
Okay, so how is this different? So how is preparing the third attempt different from what you did on the second attempt? We're not going to talk about the first attempt, because I don't think you put in that much effort over there during the first attempt.
Right. No, that's fine. I think it was just studying smarter. The way the concepts were presented in the verbal files is just so much different than reading out of a book. The videos, are definitely beneficial to my learning style as well. So,
But I mean, you've always read books throughout your life,
right,
right? So
that's
when
very
you said,
true.
but how are the videos different than reading from a book for someone who's never studied using videos?
That's true. I mean, I think it's the interaction. So there's still interaction in classrooms,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I get most of my learning from. It's not the homework
Mm-hmm.
assignment where you're just reading after. I think I learn more with the interaction stuff, and especially like the quizzes after, where that's where I really notice accuracy improvements.
Okay, that's good to know. Like you, when I did my MBA, I had pretty much just read books, and we're talking about way back in 2003. So I think if you were to take my books, you wouldn't get integrated reasoning as well. So,
Yeah,
but the whole idea of the effectiveness of video to us came from during my MBA. We had this very future-looking professor who would teach data statistics, and so what this guy, and I don't know why he did that, but he would say, okay, here is like 3 chapters of pre-reading, and here are like 5 videos which basically give the essence of those 3 chapters. So you can read the data statistics book, and or you can go through those 5 videos. By the way, those 5 videos were like 20 minutes. 3 chapters reading was about 2 hours worth of reading, and so I used to read books, and that's what I did for the first couple of classes. And then the third class, I was running short of time. Said, let me go through the videos, and I found the videos were way effective. And by the way, it's 20 minutes, and you retain things longer. And I think that was kind of where I said, hey, this is so much more powerful than just reading a book. Why are we still reading books? And
exactly.
and um, it was after that. So I don't know if you know of a service called Audible. That's by Amazon. It's like an ebook, like
Oh, right. Yep,
within
yep.
the rate the books. So it's like after that, the next thing that I do is I took a subscription to Audible and said, okay, how does this audio work? And uh, and then from there on, it was like, okay, there has to be something more effective than just purely books. And so yeah, I can understand how you felt, because I have been through the same thing myself, not for the GMAT, but just during my MBA coursework.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's it. So you went through the lessons. Um, did you take mocks as well?
Yes, I used my GMAT, the official like GMAT prep
Mm-hmm.
mocks for the third attempt.
The third attempt. And did you look at Scholaranium for ability quizzes?
Yes, and that's actually when you brought up that email I was telling you about
Mm-hmm.
struggling with the process is because those I didn't score too well on the ability quizzes, so I started to get a little nervous again.
Mm-hmm. So you were scoring, and if I remember correctly, you were scoring right around 50% on the sentence correction ability quiz. That's the data point that you had sent across to us,
Yes.
right? And so how did you improve from there? I mean, you. So first of all, was that just knowing that that's the ability level at SCM and in sentence correction, that kind of really tell you, okay, this is where I am right now.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So decided, there's got to be something that can be fixed here. There's definitely room for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back and went through some of the specific videos for a second time that were in my weakness areas because
Which were those videos? Or which were the
um,
weakness areas, first of all? I think that's.
yeah, the weakness areas. I know um, the meaning. I was still struggling with meaning,
Okay.
and oh my gosh, the I can't think of the the term at the moment, but
What does it do? Maybe I can help recall your memory.
it was with longer sentences when you have it's broken up by a bunch of commas.
Okay, so it's basically sentence structure, and essentially those part of sentence structures where you have connectors.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
connectors.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely had a
Hmm.
pretty weakness in that area as well.
Okay. Okay. All right. And so you went through those files, and then did you just come back and take ability quizzes, and the numbers went up? What really happened?
Yeah, and I also went back because a big point you guys bring in is I was the person that went through the GMAT questions in the official guide one time, cruised through them, and that was it. And it was about going back and understanding why each answer is not correct. That really helped as well, I noticed.
How did that help? If you can, I know you didn't probably
Sure.
ask yourself how, but if you could just think about it and tell me.
Yeah. First it's just more learning per question.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really opened up my eyes to see how they're building these questions and how they're making them the correct answers correct and the incorrect answers incorrect.
Okay.
Because it just shows from maybe the writer's perspective.
Okay. So
you see
sorry.
more of like patterns is all I was going to say.
You see more of patterns. Yes. I think the thing really that happens is when you look at incorrect answer choices, you're able to reason them out. That gives you confidence. And once you reason enough of those out, what you call as patterns is that implicit understanding of what's right versus what's wrong when you read an answer choice.
Exactly.
And that's something that so I'm not an SC. I don't teach sentence correction, but having done so much of it, I've made a lot of sentence correction questions. I have that implicit understanding, and I can, when you ask me why a particular choice is wrong, I can probably tell you why it's wrong, but not to the same degree of precision as Payal or Neeti would tell you why it's wrong. They'd actually weed out every logic that's incorrect in a particular sentence. But again, the whole point is once you've kind of figured out how to read sentences, once you figure out what are the few key, and there are very few key grammatical nuances or rules that you need to remember. There are not that many, by the way. Not as many as what some people will make you believe, at least. Beyond that, it's purely logic.
Yes.
And once you get to the logic, then you start to enjoy these things.
That definitely happened with me as well. I mean, I remember some of the questions that just you read through them, and that's just a really good, well-written sentence.
Okay, so you did that with sentence correction. What about with critical reasoning? You said you like the pre-thinking webinar. Were you able to pre-think?
Yes, yeah. I mean, that was a necessity, and for me, the big thing with pre-thinking is sure, there's questions that are going to be easy enough you don't even need to, but if you're always using that process, once you get fatigued, I mean, maybe I'm the only one, but I get pretty fatigued by the time the verbal section rolls around, and I think that helps you get through some of that fatigue. It's just going through the motions a little bit.
I mean regularity, frankly. It's like
yes.
If you're used to a certain workout routine, even if you do push-ups every day, even if you're very tired, you can still do a certain number of push-ups because you can do it every day. I think there's also that mental aspect to it that is there. So yes, that definitely helps. And I think this is one of those things where I don't know if you've ever been on a drive to an unknown place. While going to the unknown place, at times the drive seems longer. While coming back, it seems okay. It's a lot shorter, but I think it's that factor of unknown, and having that process just tackles that factor of unknown. Of course, it's an efficient process. That's the other piece. But just you don't have that factor of unknown, it definitely helps. Your mind's a lot more focused overall.
Yeah.
So I think that's something which was there. Okay, so you went through this. When did you take the exam? Actually, I don't even know that. We only got to know about your score when you got the expiry notification and you said, "Hey, I scored 700." So
yeah, it was July 8th.
July 8th. Okay, and so did you take mocks before going into the test?
Yes, I actually, because I went through GMATClub, I had all their mocks as well, and I probably burned through 5 or 6 of those.
Okay. And so how much were you scoring in those mocks?
I was hitting Q48s and 49s, which
Okay,
is what yeah. So I ended up, which is what I actually ended up with, and then verbals, I think we're still around that 32, 33 range.
Okay, what was your end score, end split? Do you remember on the final test?
The mocks.
Yes.
I think
No. And on the real GMAT, what was your end score? and split 700. What was it? What V what?
Q49 V35.
V35. Okay, so yeah, usually it's Q49 V36 that gets you to 700 or so. Okay, that's good. And so, how was taking the exam? How was it different this time versus your second attempt when you got a 530?
Confidence level was big. I
Hmm.
just remember being able to stay calm during the integrated reasoning section,
Hmm.
and I actually laughed during the essay section because it was about bodybuilding for whatever reason, and I'm really into fitness and working out and stuff. And I mean, that just set the whole mood for the whole exam. And I just said, this has got to be the one if I'm ever going to score high.
Okay. Okay.
And I just sticking to the methodologies and the processes. I just was able, even to with the mental fatigue, I think, just everything felt like it kind of lined up, I guess.
Okay. And how when you saw the 700 on the screen, what was your reaction like?
I was a little surprised. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm.
I just because I mean I'd never even scored that high in the mocks,
Mhm.
so it was it was definitely nice, and I felt accomplished. I mean, I felt proud, stuff like that. Definitely a good moment.
Okay. And so who was the first person who you told the score to?
My mom, I called her. Yeah.
Okay. And what was her reaction?
Well, she doesn't really know how the scoring works, but she knew it was pretty good, so she was excited and
She said,
proud.
it's better than 530.
Yeah. She knew my score before was not so hot,
Hmm.
so she was definitely excited.
Okay. And so I'm actually very glad. I mean, it 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 it, uh, it you feel really good when you see someone who scored a 490s, 530, and now is scoring a 700, because I think what it does is it allows you to now be very confident about where you're applying to, and
Yeah,
especially given your background, I think that's something which is there.
yeah, it's very important, and I mean, it totally changed the schools that I can even apply to now. I
So
mean, that
which schools were you thinking when you had a 530? Which schools were you thinking to apply to?
staying very local, just in Buffalo. There's a University of Buffalo
Yep.
here, and their average GMAT point is 600. So that's sort of where I was honestly aiming to begin with.
Okay. And I'm sorry, now you're aiming for which schools? You have to remind me again.
Yeah, it's for right now. It's Emory and Foster because of the
Emory.
healthcare.
Okay. Isn't so again, isn't Yale also into healthcare?
I think, but they might be a little out of my range as far as I mean, I haven't done too much research on Yale yet, but
Mm.
I know there are some more schools that are
Mm.
really good with healthcare administration.
Okay. I mean, I would say it's not out of your range, frankly, because one of the things that's happening, which I think you should know, I'm actually going to send you in the text. I'm going to send you a link, which probably will give you. So it's an article which was written last year in Wall Street Journal. I don't know if you've seen this me talking about this article in one of my strategy sessions. The article says, on B school test, Americans fail to measure up.
Oh
And
yeah, I did read that. Yeah,
yeah, so you did read that article, right? So
yeah,
so 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 basically, because you have a Q49 and because you have a decent verbal score as well, so your 700 may be construed a lot higher than what it is.
true. Yes,
And it should be, because not many Americans score a Q49. So in that case, I think Yale's definitely within your reach, and if you have the time, go see the campus. It's a beautiful campus.
yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, it's an amazing place. I've had visited Yale a couple of times, and I can tell you, I want to go back and study there, do a PhD sometime. So the two places where I want to go back and study. One's Cambridge in England. That's amazing as well as a campus. And then the other one is Yale. So it has that very homely feel.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
I definitely. And again, I mean, I'm in very open now because of the change. Obviously, I've just been doing a lot of research because
Mhm.
this was not in my plans, basically.
Okay, it's a good change, by the way.
It is. It's a real. It's a good change.
Mhm.
So I don't mind it. I have a lot of research to do,
Mhm.
and I've been trying to get my essays together so I can apply at least to a few schools in the first round.
Okay, there's one other advice that I will give you. Never apply to your target school. Your first application should not be to your dream school.
Right. No, I've
Your
heard
first
that.
application will not be the best one.
Exactly. Yeah, you
Okay.
need a little practice.
Okay. Also, you're taking help with admission consulting.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Are you taking some help from someone for with admission with essays?
I am not currently. No.
Okay. Uh, I would recommend that you do. Uh, there are a few reasons why. One is, I think given your score, you have a great chance, and I think it's just given how much you're going to be spending on this on your MBA. I think it's just worth it to do that. And if your application is well positioned, the ROI is going to be a lot higher in terms of scholarships and fellowships.
It's true.
Second thing is you have a very diverse resume, right? You've done
Mhm.
lots of different kind of job. So you want to make sure that there is a certain thread that's linking all of them, whether it's in it may not be in exact technical skills, but you want to show in that there's a progression in personality traits as you've kind of grown as a person as you've gone from one job to the other. That's something that you need to really make sure that, because it shouldn't really mean that this guy's jumping from one to the other to the other. That's something that's really important that should come out
Right.
from your resume. The third thing is letter of recommendations. I think given the diverse part, you want to make sure that those letter of recommendations kind of they weave that common thread also in terms of personality traits.
Mhm.
So take some help from someone. I can recommend a few people if you want, but that's something that I would just say. It's worth it. I mean, spending a couple of $1,000 is worth it when
Yeah.
you do something like this. The other piece is tour schools and talk. I mean, not when you're doing research. Um, when you get contacts with a few folks, let's say you at Emory or at Yale, you figure out, okay, these are the people who are in the medical line, right, or hospital administration. Well, I think they have just medical clubs, medical business clubs or something. Uh, just talk to those guys and figure out the kind of opportunities. I mean, that will give you a lot more insight. That's one piece. The second piece is you can write that in your MBA application.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's gonna take probably a little bit of travel too. I mean, just being stuck over here in, in New York, but
you may or may not. I mean, in this day and world, I mean, you can always use FaceTime,
true.
which is there, or use something like Zoom that we are using. So I mean, people are quite open. When I was doing my B school applications, I even wrote to professors at various B schools. I wrote to a guy who I was really fond of. And this guy was a Nobel laureate, and he had done research on 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 the ROI of research and development in technology companies. I was very fascinated by that topic because I was a researcher at that point in time, and I felt whatever we were doing was not being very useful to the company that I worked for. So I was like, okay, why are they spending so much money on us? So again, but bottom line is you can always write to professors as well, and that does. I think it does add up.
That yeah, I
So,
agree.
and it also allows you to make a good decision the right decision to really say, hey, if these are the people that I want to learn from, and maybe those guys that a few professors have the kind of contacts that will get you to your first job, which is kind of what you're looking for as well.
Right.
So, so I think that's kind of what I would recommend that you should do.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And as far as the consulting, I wouldn't mind if you had the any contacts for
Mm.
that. Or
I'll look up a few and I'll send those to you after our meeting and yeah. Any other questions, Adam, for me? And there's any other way that I can help you?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for taking time on your Friday. Just one last thing. Have you provided a review for the e-GMAT course?
Yes, it's on GMATClub.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a member on Beat the GMAT as well? Would you be willing to provide one on Beat the GMAT too?
Sure. Yeah, I'd have to, I'm not a member, but I can easily make one.
Okay, thank you very much. So
Yeah.
I will send something to you on Tuesday because I think we're still not set up over there on Beat the GMAT yet. So if you can do that, that would be great. Um, Good luck for your MBA
Thank you.
and your applications. I would say, the same things that have helped you succeed on the GMAT, the same traits essentially will help you do well on your app. Create a good application. Just stay focused on the basics. Be persistent. Things that don't seem right, they're generally not right. Okay, keep on questioning them. That's something that I've learned. So that's all that I will say. Good luck and keep me posted.
I will. Thank you so much.
And if you're not connected to me on LinkedIn, let's connect on LinkedIn.
Okay, I haven't used it in a few years. I'll probably have to do some updating, but definitely I need
Okay.
to get that updated
You
for.
do need to get it
Yeah,
updated for your school applications, my friend.
exactly. Yeah,
So
exactly.
so all right then. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thanks. Bye.